Is not going to? When did that? And I Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. Quick thumbs up if you can all hear me. Perfect. We've got, we have Mr. Brinkman with us. And we thank you, sir, for being available this evening, consistent with my past practice. And I do not believe the law requires this, but my own sense of ethics and consistency does. I am not going to participate in any fashion in this discussion. If there are questions, I would ask our president of the board, Alderman Benegas, to field those questions. And with that, the work session is open. Alderman Benegas, would you welcome our guest, please, and afford him the floor?
Welcome, Mr. Brinkman. Thanks for being with us. We've asked you to be here just to give us an update on Blacksmith Grove, and so we'll turn the floor over to you for that update, if you don't mind.
Sure. Welcome to the new normal.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to report over there. I will tell you, up until right in January, February, I thought we were close to a restaurant. We may still get it. But if I had a nickel for every time that happened, I'd have $1. So that kind of, they're just, everybody's waiting. And, you know, that'll be the hardest thing to fill. I was there the other day. I hadn't been there for quite a while, and I can't believe what a nice place that is. I mean, that retail center is unbelievable. We got all the perennials that we spent to put in around there, and they're coming out the first year, and it's just gorgeous. You all should be proud of what you did with that piece of property. I was in the nail salon. He's done. He's got his final inspections. He told me he's in there tweaking some things. I've never been in a nail salon, but it's nice. And I told him I'd be their first customer, so stand by for that.
Yeah.
And then the reason I was there is we showed the space next to him, which is about 1,800 feet. And that's for another salon, which would be complementary to him. That would be nice. There's a 50–60% chance of that happening, I think, but you just never know. Everybody says they're interested, and then they go somewhere else, or they don't do it. The only other space left other than that is about a 1,300-foot space between the and they have a food user there, but I don't want to put a small food user in there and maybe scare a big food user out of there. And I don't think the place needs two foods. It needs one really good food. So I did ask them to go back to that restaurant, and you know, I'm willing, if they want to do it, I'm willing to start spending some money doing the design and get it ready to go for when that happens. But it's been slow, you know. One thing I would mention, I had some thoughts for getting on here tonight. When we put the nail salon in there, Facebook and that had all over it, is that the best he can do, a nail salon for this piece of property? Well, it's a real nice nail salon. It's like, it's nicer than Ledoux nails, I'm told. And it doesn't do us any good to be bad mouthing the center there if you can have something to say about that. Any retail use there is going to be good for the center. The people that are going to use that nail salon are going to buy a dress, and if they're lucky, their boyfriend will buy them a diamond. So yeah, retail is retail. And the other thought I had, I think the mayor or somebody at the city, I think it was Bob Sheldon, last year or so, said, we ought to do a food truck thing there. And they got that food truck thing down in South St. Louis, and I have Mary looking into that. But I'm assuming you wouldn't object to having 6, 7 food trucks there on the first Tuesday of the month for the next 3 or 4 months and get some people over there. So I'd like to work with you on that.
That'd be good. Any questions from the board for Mr. Brinkman? Well, Ms. Brinkman, hearing none, I will ask some questions. I don't think I was quoted, but you just quoted something pretty close to what I said about a nail salon going in that space. Is that the best he can do? I have been an unbelievable supporter of you from your first presentation to the board. I thought your presentation was amazing. Your vision was amazing. You were the right person for us to have developed that space. You did a fantastic job. Loved what you did. Your vision became reality. But this process of filling the space has been quite frustrating. And we haven't gotten consistent updates as I think the contract calls for. And so I learned of a nail salon going into that premier location after the stalls were basically already set. And I know we don't control that at all, but I do have to tell you, as big a supporter of yours and your work I was very disappointed for the premier location of that site to be a nail salon. The mandate that we had from the community was to build something and fill something that is a place for people to go and a place for people to stay. And a nail salon wasn't that. So when we were proposing the uses for that space, the idea of a nail salon came up, and I distinctly remember opposing any idea of that. And my other board members indicated that a nail salon will never go in there. And now we have a nail salon in the premier spot of that location.
Well, it's not premier, it's the back of the center. It's
that could be a gold leaf nail salon, and I'd still be disappointed.
Well, I'm sorry you're disappointed.
Because in our discussion with each other, we brainstormed as to where would be a better location for a restaurant in St. Louis. And both of us agreed this is going to be it. That deck out there looking out on the babbling brook and the pond and the greenery beyond it, fantastic. And now we have a nail salon that takes up that space where a patio should be serving food to people.
Well, that patio is available to the restaurant all up and down there, all the way even past the nail salon. There's no dedicated patio to it. But I will tell you, the nail salon is paying the highest rent in there. And while it's an allowable use, and you know, that center has been done for a little over 2 years. It goes backwards $15,000 a month for 2 years. And it's not between me being successful or not. We have turned down some uses in there. Well, the one restaurant I'm not going to put in there because it's not what you want, and it could hurt the other restaurant. So we've been very selective, but it's been hard to do that. I mean, you all love that center because you live there. Most of the retailers don't believe they can be successful there. That's the problem with the restaurant.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Alderman Benegas, thank you for conducting that exchange. I know there is a lot of interest in the matter. Mr. Brinkman, thank you very much for making yourself available. Perhaps we can schedule another one a month or two out. I need to move forward because I've got about 7 more minutes left before we have to start our regular meeting. So thank you.
One last question. I could get a coffee shop in there if the citizens would find somebody to operate. It's about $200,000. Caldi's would probably go in there. And we've had several people tell us that some citizens in the city want to operate an ice cream shop or a coffee shop there. If you can find somebody to operate it, we will get a coffee shop there, and Starbucks will go out someday because they're not renewing anything that doesn't have a drive-through. So that's what that other space should be.
Just one other item, Mayor, if you don't mind, Mr. Brinkman, I would support while the space is not fully full, the whole notion of the food truck idea. And I'm down here in Naples right now, and they have a location here that has 7 food trucks. The place is packed every single night. It's unbelievable. So there's some ideas that will work in that regard, and I support that idea, at least in short term. And so I hope you engage in discussions with city staff to see if we can move that forward.
We might do it more than once a month.
Okay, that'd be okay with me.
Thanks, Mayor.
So thank you. And I think where we put a punctuation point at this is that I'm going to ask our city administrator to stay in close contact with Mr. Brinkman, and then he can give regular, perhaps even every other, or at least once a month, updates on reports from Bob that don't necessitate your having to carve out the time for us, but that we will be in regular contact on these important items.
I'm always glad to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to move on with our meeting agenda. Quick review. The minutes have been distributed. How they look? Everybody okay? I'm going to move unless somebody indicates they've got big concerns. We got a public hearing this evening. Everybody ready to proceed on that? Regarding appointments, I'm going to seek your support for the appointment. I've spoken to every single member of the board, and I'm going to seek your support. The one for those appointments this evening. The one question I have for you is, would you like to proceed as we always have in a singular motion for the appointments, or do you want me to take them one by one? It's your, whatever your pleasure is, I'll proceed accordingly. Alderman Fauci appears to be indicating that she wants them done one at a time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Ms. Alderman Weezahan says the same. We will take them up one at a time. And I am going to seek your support this evening for the appointment of a special prosecutor only when there are conflicts and our regular firm cannot handle them. They probably can do this on their own. I appreciate their bringing it to me. I've met with this individual, and I'll be seeking your support for his establishing that relationship tonight. Unfinished business. Alderman Holman, you ready to go on Bill 2026? Good, thank you. Everybody else okay? We've got, and sorry to be rushing this, but make your opinion known if you've got a big issue that we need to stop and talk about. Item number 2, Alderman Fauci and Weezahan, is that good to go?
It is.
Thank you. We are on new business. We've got the approval of a purchase order for some patrol vehicle equipment. Everybody okay considering that matter tonight?
Yes.
People be available to answer any questions. We've got the first reading on the Claymark Drive multi-purpose. Alderman Holman, do you want that? Alderman Hughes, you want to join?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
before we go, you indicated that you spoke with everyone about the commission appointments.
Yes.
With all due respect, I don't remember that conversation.
Well, you and I had ours publicly, and we did it on 2 occasions, the last 2 board meetings where I complimented you
Oh.
extensively.
That's what you're referring to.
You're
Okay, I'm
having
sorry.
major desires and interests known.
Yes,
and
just
made
want to make sure.
appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you.
Public communication is still communication. We are on Bill 20-29. That's ready to be first read this evening. Is that Alderman Holman, you want that one as well? Same question, Alderman Hughes?
Yes.
And I'd be happy to be on that. That came through planning and zoning.
Thank you. We've got two purchase orders following up. Both of them involve salt arrangements. We work collaboratively with the city of Chesterfield, and then we have an arrangement with Bellman Logistics as well. Everybody okay with first reading those?
Yes.
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 We have a resolution that works through a memorandum of understanding with the Lafayette Area Mayors Organization to explore police department resource sharing. Everybody okay with that this evening? And then we have the approval of a liquor license. John Minio's Restaurant has completed their materials and is seeking our approval of their liquor license. Lastly, our warrant list in the amount of $377,439.90 is on your agenda. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you, one and all. I appreciate it. Sorry to be rushing like that, but I thought we had a good discussion with Mr. Brinkman. And sign out now and sign back in.